If you're pure of heart and truly believe, you'll discover the rainbow to Fairytopia. Fairytopia, a world of wonder.
So today's video is going to be a collaboration with Jeffrey Steinman Reviews. And for this collaboration, we both decided to take a trip down memory lane and review some dolls that played a big part in our childhood. Now this posed a really interesting challenge for me because, as I stated before, I'm a much different collector than I was as a kid. Most of the dolls that I had growing up were hand-me-down superstar Barbies from the 80s and 90s, but I prefer for my collection to be a little bit more diverse now. But I distinctly remember opening up this Fairytopia on Christmas one year in the early 2000s. This doll was really memorable to me because, I mean, how do you forget having a purple Barbie? So I thought, what better opportunity to review her than in a collaboration where we're both revisiting our childhoods. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Andrea Dalzahoy, who is a master seamstress, and she was very kind to make this Ken outfit for me. You can really tell that she put a lot of love into this outfit and put a lot of thought into the colors and made sure that she made something that she knew I would love. These clothes are so high quality. I love this holographic pink jacket. She finished it off on the edges with this hot pink trim that calls back to some of the trim in the gray shirt under it, and she chose to use a pink threading in the pants that also calls back to the jacket. Look at how much detail she put into the pockets and the stitching around the front. These pants actually open in the front like a real pair of pants would. And look, it has real working pockets. How cool is that? I've been following Andrea for a few years now, and I know that she's had a lot of practice, and you can definitely tell. I mean, it's gray, it's pastel. I mean, what else do you need to know about me? Being an artist myself, I definitely value custom-made gifts over everything, so I really appreciate that she was willing to make this for me. This might be weird to say, but the color purple played a very important part in my childhood. Purple is my mother's favorite color, and to this day, she still exclusively wears purple lipstick. I remember that she once had a bottle of nail polish that was in the shape of a teddy bear that was in this specific shade of pastel purple. I loved playing with that bottle of nail polish, and I remember that I accidentally dropped it out of a window at one point in time, and it fell on the concrete outside and shattered, and it just cemented on the pavement, and it was there until we moved out of that house. And I also remember a trend with the cartoons of the early 2000s where if they had a rebellious or alternative character, they were more than likely associated with the color purple. For example, Raven from the Teen Titans. The Teen Titans played a huge role with my awakening as a kid, and I had a huge crush on Raven as a kid, and whenever I got this doll, she reminded me of Raven because Raven's purple. But I had some art teachers as a kid that had me so terrified of copyright laws, and I was afraid that if I named her Raven, I would get sued by Warner Brothers. But I loved making artwork in Microsoft Paint as a kid, and I remember that there was this font called Ravi. I think it was pronounced Ravi actually, but I pronounced it Ravi. And I thought that that sounded close enough to Raven without being too obvious, so I named her Ravi in hopes of not being sued by Warner Brothers. So I hope that you all can see why I thought this would be the perfect doll for this collaboration, as she played a huge part in my childhood. So without further ado, let's take a look at the 2003 Barbie Fairytopia Sparkle Fairy. So here is the purple Fairytopia Sparkle Fairy displayed in her packaging, and on the back it has a story about the land of Fairytopia. If you're pure of heart, kind in spirit, and truly believe in your wildest dreams, you will find your way to the faraway world of Fairytopia. There you'll find all the magical creatures of your fantasies. What are you waiting for? Journey to Fairytopia. You can see that there was a purple Sparkle Fairy, a blue Sparkle Fairy, and also a pink Sparkle Fairy available. Of all of the Barbie logos that Mattel has used over time, I'm oddly nostalgic about the flower logo. It didn't last very long, but it's the one that they used in my childhood. There's something really surreal about opening dolls that you had as a kid. So she came with this pop-up book. I don't remember having this as a child, but that's probably because I immediately lost it. But I really like this early 2000s minimalistic art style. I would love to review some of the Mermaidia dolls on this channel as well, but they are super expensive. I remember having a fairy Barbie as a kid where if you pressed on her hips, her wings would move. And it looks like it wasn't the Sparkle Fairy, because with the Sparkle Fairy, it looks like you're just supposed to shake her up and down to get her to fly. And here is the purple Sparkle Fairy, aka gravy straight out of her packaging. Speaking of the wings on these dolls are extremely fragile. You can see it's just a fabric piece that is lightly sewn over this flimsy wire, but there is a pivot on the inside of her body, so if you move one wing, the other one will move in conjunction. She uses the Generation Girl / CEO face sculpt that replaced the Superstar face sculpt in the early 2000s as Barbie's official head sculpt. Her hair is this beautiful shade of purple, and it has these strands of tinsel in it that really make it glitter. You know, the elastics deteriorating on my childhood dolls is really reminding me of how old I'm getting. I love that they chose to give her green eyes. It's a very good contrast, and because of her, it's a very nostalgic color combination for me. Look at how clean that face paint is. Man, I really hope Mattel stops using the pixel face method. You can see that her body is just packed with this beautiful iridescent glitter. You can see her top is just painted on her. I didn't really have an issue with this as a child, because if I wanted to change her clothes, I could just put it over this one. And she's got this beautiful iridescent wrap skirt with these longer tassels on the side and a floral trim around the top. I do not remember her coming with shoes, but that's probably because I lost them very quickly. But they are just these flats with a really pretty flower pattern on the front. You can see that they were originally held on with elastics as well. As far as her body goes, she comes on the belly button Barbie body, and she has articulation at the shoulder, at the head, at the hip, and a bend and snap knee. And also because she's a fairy, she has a pivot on the back for her wings. This is the same body that they used for the My Scene dolls in the early 2000s. I definitely prefer this body shape a lot more than the Barbies of the 90s, but I did miss the twist and turn waist as a kid. Unfortunately, I couldn't rebody her if I wanted to, because Mattel is never going to make a made-to-move body in this light lavender skin tone, but there is a designer Ursula doll that has articulation at the elbows and wrists, and she has a very similar light purple color to her, but I haven't really seen anybody attempt that hybrid before, so I'm not really sure if that Ursula would be a match for this Sparkle Fairy, but if anybody knows, I would appreciate the information. I'm really happy to have this doll back in my collection after all these years, and if you haven't already, be sure to go check out Jeffree Steinman's review where he reviews a couple Disney dolls that meant a lot to him. I'll have a link down below. If you somehow don't already follow him, here's a quick compilation of what to expect from Jeffree's channel.
I'm just looking at her through the viewfinder, and she already looks 1,000 times better than that new Lunar New Year Barbie. Holy crap.
Now, I have a daddy.
There we go, Daddy. Do you want some poppers to make you feel better? I will beat up, like, I don't know, like 50 toddlers just to get to her. Like, I am so sick and tired of white people. Australia doesn't exist. Oh, fuck. Stop trying to make people feel bad for stuff that they like. Like, just let people have their fandoms and their pumpkin spice and their scarves and their anime. Like, just let them do their thing. If it doesn't hurt you, it is okay.
As always, thank you all so much for watching my video and supporting my channel. If you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.